I know that the majority of people who watch my videos are either into true crime or they're into conspiracies. So, have any of you all ever looked into some of the mysterious stuff that happens at Disneyland and Disney World? You know, they say that no one ever dies at Disney. Or better yet, no one is allowed to die at Disney. Now, as someone who lives just a couple of hours away from Disney World, as someone who goes to Disney all the time, at least once or twice a year, as someone who's always in the area, I go to Orlando all the time. Hell, as someone who knows people who work at the park and at the resorts, I can confidently say that people do die at Disney. Now, this is a very interesting rabbit hole to go down. I don't have time to get into the legalities and the technicalities. But basically, Disney does not allow anyone to be pronounced dead on their property. Even if it's very clear that you're dead, you can drop dead in front of everyone in the park. Everyone can know you're dead. They will try to resuscitate you. They will do CPR. They will do whatever they can until they get your body off property. Then they will pronounce you dead. Now, I'm not saying that all of these deaths that happen at Disney are, crazy accidents from riding the rides, although accidents like that have happened in the past. But sometimes people die of heat strokes. Sometimes people have heart attacks. Hell, I know of one story where a guy at one of these Disney World resorts basically blew his brains out in front of a bunch of family members, not his family members, but a bunch of families who were at Disney on vacation, all right? Blew his freaking brains out right in front of them, but still, they would not declare him dead until later in the day once they got all of his remains and his body all the way off property. Okay, so people do die at Disney World, but the mystery is, even when people do die at Disney, most of the time you'll never know, okay? Because they leave it out. And by doing that, Disney can claim that they don't have any deaths at their park, even though they do. And like I said, people even go so far as to end themselves at Disney. Not necessarily in the park, but sometimes at the resort hotels. Not too long ago, I can't remember, was it Disney or Universal? Someone literally jumped off the freaking parking garage. So a lot of crazy stuff happens that you'll never hear about. Another mysterious part of Disney that most people don't know when they're at Disney is that Disney has exclusive clubs at every park, Club 33. Now, usually, in a lot of these clubs, only rich and famous people go there. I've never been there. I've been to Disney a lot. I've never been in Club 33. I'm not saying you have to be an elite to get into Club 33, but there are rumors, there's a lot of conspiracies floating around that there's different levels to it. Like, yeah, as a normal person, maybe you can get into Club 33, have a nice little dinner, but there's levels to it. The more money you have, the more powerful you are, the more little secret clubs you get to unlock around the Disneyland parks. And people are out there in the 90-degree weather. They're not realizing that sometimes there's celebrities chilling, and powerful people chilling at Club 33 right there at Disney. But it's very hard to get into for the average person. And even if you're able to get into the club, from what people say, there's levels to it. There's certain areas, certain rooms, certain clubs that just, are in certain corners of the parks that you may not even know exist. And also, if you don't know the significance of the number 33, then you have a lot to learn. But speaking of Disney deaths and speaking of Club 33, a couple of days ago, there was just a tragic death at Disneyland that you probably haven't heard of. Someone who had been working, a long-time employee of Club 33 at Disneyland, just died at Disneyland in a crazy golf cart accident. And from what employees are saying, from what cast members are saying, because often employees of Disneyland and Disney World, they're referred to as cast members. Well, a lot of cast members are coming out, and they're claiming that there is an effort to kind of silence them about this death. That Disney is trying to get them to keep this death on the hush-hush. Now, I'm not saying that there's foul play here or, this was an attempt to take this lady out because she had seen too much at Club 33. But as I said, no one dies at Disney. And Disney doesn't want people knowing what actually happens sometimes behind the scenes. But let's go ahead and dive into this article and let's figure out what in the heck is going on here, because this is an interesting story. Disneyland employee killed on the job by reckless golf cart driver. A Disneyland employee died on the job when she was thrown off a faulty golf cart being driven recklessly through the backstage area of the Southern California theme park, friends and authorities said on Saturday. Bonnie Mavis Lear, an administrator at the park's exclusive Club 33, suffered grave injuries when she struck her head around 11:30 a.m. Wednesday, Anaheim Police Sergeant John McClintock said. She was then rushed to the hospital and succumbed to her injuries 2 days later on Friday. Police had few details surrounding the accident, which they referred to as a traffic collision, but Lear's colleagues said she had been thrown off the cart when the driver recklessly struck a bump in the road. Lear was riding in the rear-facing seat of the brand-new cart as it rode 20 miles per hour behind Critter County, a temporarily closed section of the park. When the car lurched, Disney California Adventure Attractions cast member Ray Delgado wrote on Facebook. She went to grab the handrail. It gave way and sent her out of the vehicle. We do not know if the passengers were aware that she had fallen out, Delgado wrote. Lear suffered severe head trauma and a fractured skull that could not be quelled in surgery. The Disneyland employee also accused the Anaheim resort managers of telling cast members to stay mum and quiet about the circumstances of Lear's death. It didn't have to end this way. All of this mess could have been avoided if the driver of the golf cart was not driving recklessly, she continued. The golf cart from the entertainment department was brand new. How the hell could it fall apart? It's just so unfair to us and the family. Disneyland has not responded to any questions surrounding the various allegations about her death. Lear had been a Disneyland employee for 24 years, most recently in membership support services at Club 33. The members-only club is comprised of several private dining clubs located within the various Disney parks and provides an opportunity for high-flying guests to escape the overwhelming crowds. We are heartbroken by the loss of Bonnie and offer our sincere condolences to everyone who cared for her, Disneyland Resort President Ken Potrock said in a statement. At this time, we are focused on supporting her family and our cast members through this tragic event and making sure they have the resources they need. Anaheim police are currently still investigating Lear's death. Now, how can you say that you're focusing on the cast members? We don't want to make any comments about this woman's death. We're focusing on the cast members right now. We got to make sure they're okay. They may be traumatized by this. But from what the cast members are saying, y'all aren't helping them at all. Your way of helping them is like, hey, shut the hell up. No one is allowed to die at Disneyland. No one dies at Disneyland, okay? Do you want to not die at Disneyland? Think about that. Maybe that's the threat these cast members are getting. Hey, It would be a shame if you didn't die at Disneyland, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? So these people are like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, Disneyland is sitting here, oh, we're doing whatever we can for our employees, you know, because they're traumatized. But all of the employees are like, yeah, Disneyland is doing whatever they can to get us to shut the hell up about what happened. So, I mean, who knows what actually transpired here? But from what people are saying, we have someone out here riding the golf carts so recklessly, you know, behind the scenes. They're driving the golf carts so recklessly that people are literally dying from falling off the golf carts. But, as I said, and as we've talked about, you know, people aren't allowed to die at Disney. The fact that she so-called lived for a couple of days and died on Friday, even though this accident happened on Wednesday. Now, I know things like that happen, but, you know, part of me is questioning, did y'all know there was no chance of survival on Wednesday, but you really drugged this out as long as possible so you can just kind of wash your hands of the situation? Because now, once again, as I was saying earlier, this is not going to go down as a death at Disney World or at Disneyland. This will go down as a death at the hospital. And Disneyland will literally wipe and scrub any records of this woman even ever existing at this park. And you'll never hear about this situation again. And if you don't think that stuff like that happens, go to Google right now. Go ahead and try to dive down the rabbit hole that I've been telling you all to dive down. It's kind of a hard rabbit hole to dive down because Google and, you know, Disney buys and pays for a lot of these articles, but they've been running damage control for years. They've been wiping and scrubbing a lot of these stories away for years. And if you're not someone who's sometimes like in the area and you know people in the area, more often than not, you're not going to hear about some of the crazy stuff that happens. Yeah, you may see some of these viral videos of people fighting at Disney, but boy, a lot of crazy stuff happens that you will never hear about. And that's because Disney, I don't know if you all know this, Disney is pretty powerful. They don't just make kid movies, okay? Disney owns some of these media outlets. Plenty of these media outlets are, you know, basically owned by Disney. So a lot of the news that you get, it's already going through a Disney filter anyway. So, you know, I'm surprised that we even got to hear about this woman's death. And I think the only reason that this story is really getting out there is because some of the cast members are posting about it on Facebook. And they're talking about it on social media. But the investigation is ongoing. I don't know, you know, how far and how deep we'll have to dig to get any more information about the story. I wouldn't expect too much more to come out. But it's a tragic situation. A tragic situation that will bring more eyes to the reality that there is, you know, some mysterious stuff that sometimes happens behind the scenes at these parks. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.